My socializing cut is
45 seconds. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is a call workshop. Council is 29th July at 1 o'clock. I will call the meeting to order. We will have a roll call to establish quorum present. Ward 1.
Here.
Ward 2, not present. Ward 3. Here. Ward 4.
Here.
Here we do have a quorum. Stand with us for pledge of allegiance. There is a flag up there on the screen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. I'm going to give the citizens to be heard. Do we have any citizens who signed up?
I did not get it.
Okay, I won't read all of that thing. Next item on the agenda, discussion of items, directions, and updates on fiscal year 2026 budget and 2025 tax rate. Item number 1, hotel occupancy. City Manager Schroeder.
Okay, well, we've got a tag team going here, so I'm going to. You're starting, or am I starting? I can start. Shelley's gonna start, and she's gonna give you the rules, and then I'm gonna give you the bad news. And we have a PowerPoint. The PowerPoint. Start. Give a.
Hey, the girl.
So just to start, we have uploaded the graph that shows what hot tax we have collected. This is actually through June. The 2024-2025 is the one in red. We did have a spike a little bit compared to last year in May. But again, we show it's up and down. So we are still flat and still building. So with that said, I just wanted to go over what the state requirements are, which everybody knows. The first part of hotel occupancy tax spending is every expenditure of hotel taxes must put heads in beds, meaning every fund project must attract overnight tourists to the city's hotel, motel, short-term rentals, thus promoting the city hotel industry. That's what hot tax is about. So there are different categories. I'm not going to go over every single category. The city of Rockport has 7 categories we use, 2 categories. One could fit us, one we chose not, one would not fit us because of our size. But however, the state law requires that historic restoration activities, and I have shortened all of these, make it easier, just the different categories. But anyway, you cannot go more than 15% of the total intake. You cannot spend over that. Rockport did go and get permission to change our art and encouragement and improvement of the arts to 30%. So again, everything we spend out has to stay under that. So the changes to the 2025-2026, which was presented to the council, and these were the ones we accepted: no administrative fees, management fees for nonprofit organizations, except for the Rock and the Visitor Center. Applications can include presentations of all the activities the recipients did. However, in the quarterly reports, we're just asking for the reports and the receipts. If you give us more than that, that will not go in the agenda packet. However, it will be given to the council. Funds are only going to be distributed to nonprofit organizations, CBB, and city eligible hot extensive. All advertising categories will go to the CBB. And that's up to the mayor.
Okay, so if you'll go back. So in order to build up the tourism program, the following changes were agreed to. Were those agreed to in city council? Yeah. Yes. That I thought those were recommendations in the June 24th.
They were recommendations from staff, and then the council agreed by consent. So this year, nonprofit organizations have requested $881,179, which is over. Well, if you want to take it from here.
Okay, I'll probably come back to these individual requests. I'm gonna go more general, and I'm a better stand-up talker, so. What I'm gonna work off of is this spreadsheet, which you guys all received via email, and I think there's a printed copy in front of you. You'd rather than printed one today. You put it in the binder.
Yes, they're in their bond.
Okay, I'm sorry. And then this memo that I sent out Saturday as well. Yeah, I understand. Reagan, would you run and make 20 copies of? Go right here to billing collection. Does she have them?
Oh, okay, right. Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna go forward. She'll go ahead and get you these spreadsheets. Some of you I have spoken to what is on the spreadsheet. Will not be a surprise. I didn't get to everybody Saturday, sorry. But here we are. So basically our hot funds are gonna be flat from year over year. We budgeted 1.2 last year. I think we're probably gonna only bring in one. That's our 95% collection conservative projection. I do think we're gonna have a big bump from the 4th of July for it being on Friday. Our Placer AI data shows that we had about 60,000 people come to town. That's a pretty big crowd for our previous guesstimates, and this is more solid data. So I think we'll see a bump because it's on Friday. It's not something we should get used to. So I'm comfortable pushing our projections to 1.2, which mirrors what we did last year. So keeping it flat. The other indicator that we have is our sales tax, which is also flat. So hopefully that we'll get a July bump from that. Taking those two combined, I don't think we should push it any higher. If you direct me to push it higher, I certainly will. And all of the numbers that we talk about today are maintaining a 365-day reserve in the hot funds, which has been our direction. Anything you want to go over that, we'll have to readjust, either put our reserve estimates down, some things like that. So keep that in mind. It's not right or wrong. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, I'm just saying, keep it in mind. So we're gonna try to keep it flat. We moved all the marketing in-house this year from the past year, but are voted on last year. That's going well. It has been work. We hired Nanette recently. Felt it was hire the right person over a person. So we contracted out a lot of the services until we got her on board. She's on board. She's hit the ground running. I think we're making some really good strides. If you're on Facebook at all, you can see that we're, well, I don't want to say killing it, but I will. We're doing a really good job. And when I say we, I mean them. So everything's going well on that front. Good board. There's a really good board set up for that. I think we've represented most of the interest, and the board does a good job of not promoting their self-interest over the interest of the whole. So I'm really proud of how that has shaped out as well. So those things there. If we go to the spreadsheet now, it's event by event, what they requested, what I'm recommending, and why. So there's one on here that I left, and there's a little bit of discussion to be had. The requests are $1.9462 million. We're keeping it at 1.2. My recommendations have put us down to 1.3452. And last year we've awarded 1.282. So Robbie, feel free to jump in if I misspeak or call out a wrong number or something. So y'all want to go through these bit by bit? One by one, we'll talk about them. Okay. So we started with the city of Rockport expenses. We have lumped all of our categories, city categories. So if basically Brittany Parks, our team does it, it's lumped into one group that's hot fund eligible. And we estimate to spend $110,000 a year. Brittany, why don't you tell me what those events are?
Fiesta in the Plaza, we're doing Ren Fair, Tropical Christmas, Train Strut, Kite Festival, and the
Master Swim Meet, which is statewide, correct? Okay. So those are the events that are budgeted for out of that $110,000. Any questions there? Okay. CDB, that is our bringing the funding in-house. That money includes our payment for the reservation or our payment for the rental of the CDB building, our contract services for our new website, our contract services for Rentalscape, although I think I've moved half of that to code enforcement this year. Someone talk to you about that?
30,000.
For Rentalscape to split it, yep. So we're gonna put half in code so hot doesn't take such a hit. It includes contract, social media, and web support. Includes Nanette's salary. It includes the salaries of staff that support the administration of the hot funds, like, right? So 10% of my salary or 2% of my salary comes out of it, something like that. A small portion of Shelley's, but it's 100% of Nanette's. Tell me what else is in there.
We do have advertising and promotion in there, so that goes in different contracted services.
And travel training,
Memberships,
standard budget
sponsorships,
items.
standard budget.
Okay, so they asked for $1 million. I have backed them down to 7,500, which is pretty consistent with what they used last year. I've asked them to keep it flat, but I also know that Nanette is hustling up some money on the side. It's a new venture. We're gonna make it work. We're gonna give it a go for a few years. And I said last year, if it doesn't work, if it's a flop, we just go back the other way. Nobody's gonna lose their life over it. So we're letting Nanette have some time to do some work, but I am keeping it budget. Maritime Museum. So to start, the first thing I did was remove all the advertising that everybody had asked for, because as we agreed, that all goes over to the CVB. Maritime Museum, you going for the Warbirds? I'm so sorry. Okay, they asked for 42,000. I'm recommending 1,500. Don't panic yet. Based on the room nights that, well, first of all, I took out the advertising and the signage. Based on 280 room nights. I believe it's over $100 a room night. Can you give me that number right quick? 280 room nights by 42,000. So in an effort for consistency, if you have your room night count, I'm suggesting we pay $10 a room night. Some of these are asking for an amount that would equal to like $90 a room night. So if you bring in one person to a room, we're gonna give you back $90. And I think that's more than this fund can handle. And I think it's more than should be given, frankly, but that's my opinion. And you guys get to have a different thing. So I've consistently applied $10 a room night for everybody that had room night counts.
Was that number that you needed?
3,000 divided by 280.
42 divided by 280. They're asking for $150 a room night return. Not right or wrong. It's a logic that I can apply all the way down. There's another logic, there's another method, there's probably another way. But this is what we're going with. Maritime Museum, they asked for 75,000. I recommend 70,000. I took out the disaster preparedness because I don't think that is something that we necessarily should pay for, because other entities do it and we can replicate it probably for minimal to no cost. Maritime Winefest, they asked for 30,000. I'm recommending 3,200. This is one that's spending $93 per room night. If I applied the $10 per room night to be consistent, 1,200. My commentary on this is also, it's a fundraiser. So how much support do we want to put into actual fundraisers? That's a question for you guys to have, a strategic question. And please stop me. Questions, if there's blah, anything. Let's discuss it, okay?
Let me have a question. Just, how did you?
You know what, I'll tell you how I came up with it, and I'm not picking on anybody, but the little theater asked for $38,000. And that would equate into $78 per head. To get to the little theater is $20. Why don't you just sponsor tickets? I mean, we're not, to me, the return on investment there is not, buy half a ticket for every person that they brought into this town. Is that something we want to do? I don't know. Maybe. It's just where I started. And so I took the half of the price and did $10 per head in bed. Because if they're coming for the Winefest or if they're coming for the little theater, they're paying the same price. We can up it to 20, we can up it to 50, we can pay 100. Doesn't matter, it's just what I picked, literally. And to be consistent, I didn't want to say, well, if you're here for the Winefest, you get $78, but if you're here for the little theater, you get 10. Okay, no, that's just where I'm getting more questions.
I just.
Okay, no problem, no problem. So Winefest was asking for $93 per room night, 10 would be consistent. It's a very small percentage of the users that are from out of town. for that whole, for the entire event. Most of the participants are local. Correct me if I'm wrong. Christmas on the beach, they asked for 44. I put them down to 25 because 1575 of their ask was marketing, so that was removed. And they don't have a determination of room nights, nor do they have any method of determining room nights. We took their advertising out, bumped them down. Rockport Fine Arts Celebration, they asked for 79, advertising out and put it down to 76. This is where we have to talk about event support. Because if we remove the event support, can you tell me what that number would be, Shelley?
Amended. $28,000 for, well, yes, it would be 36,000.
So if we remove the event support, it would be $40,500 recommendation. So you guys are gonna have to make that decision. I know Ms. Day had some questions about that and she didn't want to speak to. 6.5 is what that would take. Also, my recommendations keep us within the funding allowances for arts and historic preservation by the state. Don't have to juggle any money there. District lights, $95,000 was put in for that. This would have to be tied to an event, I believe. Additionally, it's the $95,000 and it's only for lights in the historical district, which also falls within the footprint of the TERS. And I think that that might be a better opportunity because the TERS will incur some natural growth. Project or no project, some money goes back into that. And I think that would be a very good project to present to the TERS board and free up $100,000 in hot funds. Additionally, it has to be tied to an event. So it's gonna have to bring some people in. If, you know, if it's a tree lighting or whatever, it's fine. But just saying we're gonna pay for lights is not gonna qualify. Has to be an event. But put that in zero.
Do you put it at a date range? Would that be an event? Like Christmas on the beach, so if the downtown lights are
You
tied to Christmas
That
lights.
could be the event.
I don't think,
It could be a lighting, it could
I
be a
don't think the
tour.
intent
bus.
was to be year round.
No, it's not year round. It's just for Christmas.
You know, but for an event, so the event would be Christmas lights.
It could be the lighting of downtown, something like that.
Would be tied in with Christmas in the district.
Just for year round.
100%.
Here is, it's from October 20, January 5th. Includes bunch of events or. It's not tied to an event, it's not really accurate.
Very good.
With the tiers wouldn't be able to support.
No.
Future.
I mean, realistically, it's not potentially gonna help with funding for that for years to come, though.
Say that again.
Money from the TERS is not likely for years to come to help with the sustain of funding for something like.
For year over year. Agreed. Yes. That wouldn't be the best use.
Like the, please continue. I do know that Mural has them. I mean, there's some areas local to us that have these,
And maybe Shelley could speak to the committee that's been formed that has been looking at that. I know Scarlett and Jennifer are on that and some other people. I believe that you guys decided maybe this year wouldn't be the best year to start that,
Well,
or
that's what we had talked about, but I haven't been to any other meetings. I don't know if there has been.
But what it sounds like to me is that the application was not tied to an actual event, and that's why you're not.
why don't you, one of you can flip over to
No,
that.
I've looked at it, yeah, that's,
Okay.
but that's, I think that's what you're pointing out, when you looked at it, it just wasn't tied to an actual event.
That's one of the issues.
Okay.
The other issue is I don't think the hot fund can support this.
We do have an opportunity.
Sure. Cultural arts heritage programs, they asked for 32, I put it down to 22. We removed the event overhead in the form of executive director. The room nights were just an estimate, so I didn't apply that. Mural Fest, they asked for 57, I put it down to 39.8. It's the second year, so we'll await data. I removed merchandise, so Hot Fund's not gonna buy t-shirts that you're gonna sell to make a profit. That was just my theory, doesn't have to remain. I removed the overhead, and then again, the room nights are an estimate. Little theater, they asked for 38, I put them down at 49.5. That's the one that I started with, that Hot Taxes would pay $78 per head in bed. And the majority of their usership is not out of town visitors. So I put that at the $10, that would put it down at 49. The Rock, I kept it flat year over year because they asked for 125, I kept it flat because our intake is flat, so. I don't think we can justify going up on that. I did actually, and Karen, I'm sorry, I told you wrong earlier. I bumped the Rock down to 150. I'm sorry, the Art Center, yeah. The Rock flat, bumped the Art Center down to 150. Seafair, they asked for 25, I bumped it down to 10, and that was just strictly after the removal of advertising. Friends of Fulton Mansion, she asked for 30, I put it down to 19. Estimate of heads of beds is 2512, and I just have a comment there that keep it flat on this one, and that maybe we want to talk about primary versus secondary draws. So if you come here to go to the museum or the art center because they're a major attraction and you swing by the Fulton Mansion because you're here, does that make it a secondary attraction? Not saying it's not as equally as needed. We got to have other stuff to do. But do we want to consider that in the funding and how we allocate? So with those recommendations and taking out the 45 for the Mural Fest, we're down to 1.3, almost exact. Let the questions begin.
I have a question. So I'm looking at the Warbirds and then I'm looking at Christmas on the Beach. And you had taken down to 50 years, you signage, but you also have 5,000 on your on the arts section. Advertising the arts, and so you left that
Right,
that
I
off,
removed
but
the
you
art
left it for the
hot
Christmas.
set. Is there a band attraction, I believe?
Why was that taken off of the Warbirds and not?
Did does Christmas on the Beach have a band?
Well, they Christmas on the Beach, they have the encouragement promotion application arts.
Okay, hold on, I'm gonna tell you one.
Those two were. Capital.
With the Warbirds, ask, we would be supplementing at $280 per room night. So if we put it down to the consistent 10, that's where that number came from. I didn't cut anything. I said, you're gonna do this number of room nights. You're asking me for $280 a room night. And I am arbitrarily applying $10 a room. That's where that came from. So I didn't take out their hot art set, or I didn't take out anything.
So is that?
I don't care what they use.
To ask, or is that like what would be approved?
No.
4,200 it'd be on.
I'm sorry.
I said, is that $1,500 a discount, or that's what you're recommending to only be approved for that?
I'm recommending to fund that much,
Only 1,500 for the.
1,500. So I didn't say take out the art set, take out, the only thing that was completely taken out was advertising. Now, this 1,500, I'm saying he can use it for whatever is eligible for. So if it's the heart arts, the art hot set that he wants to use it for, that's fine.
The CBD does all the advertising.
Right, so all the advertising is the only thing that is removed, advertising and administrative fees, because those were agreed upon, not this current year, the last year.
So just kind of going back and just because I'll kind of go with these.
Right.
And just kind of. Dollars to me. I understand. Opposite of. Off of. Events bring clientele. Top of that, I'm only using hot. Now, I attended both Christmas on the Beach and Warbirds. Christmas on the Beach is a lot of local. I mean, that's what brings in. So for them to have a little bit more than the Warbirds, when I went to that event, well, they brought a lot of people out of town, including people with planes and a different, it was a very well attended event. So when I'm looking at these figures and how we're getting done, they just don't add up to me. They don't make sense. So I'm trying to understand the.
So based on the numbers that I was given and the number that was requested, our return to them would be $280 for every person they put in a hotel. So yes, it might bring a higher clientele. Maybe you do want to supplement that more, but it's not bringing more out of town people.
But it is, but that's where I'm not saying the higher.
Not for ask for the money.
The Warbirds, I would say, if we looked at the heads and beds. Or people coming out of town into our community, then you're gonna have Christmas on the Beach.
100% agree. I would cut Christmas on the Beach more. I mean, yes, I would add
I'm
more
just
to
using that as an
Warbirds.
example here, like this is where the numbers are kind of just, they're not making sense to.
Right.
So,
When you say the $280, the hotel room night's not costing somewhat
No,
less than that. Right, but their request is saying, so let's say they stay in the hotel at $150, they're asking basically double that back. We're not even collecting from that. That's what I think, what you're referring to, right? $280 per guest visiting for the event.
Per out of town guest.
Per out of town guest. That's not even what the hotel is collecting. So you're in the hole already, double the amount, and that's not feasible way to fund periods.
You're correct though, Andrea. Some of these don't have a number of out of town visitors.
that where the, coming from, you don't have the
So
numbers.
Christmas on the Beach can only give me an estimate and I don't go on an estimate. The art district, they can only give me an estimate. That's where that primary and secondary comes in. So if I'm counting someone for the art district and Christmas on the Beach, and they're both asking for $150 a visitor for the same visitor. In my mind, I can be talked out of it. We're overpaying for what is coming into this town. And it doesn't have to be $10. Maybe you want to give Warbirds $100. Or maybe you want to give Little Theater $20. But it's still the same number of people from out of town. If he brings 100 and gets $10 per room, he's getting the same amount as if the theater brings 20 and gets $10. That's where the equality is. But you're right, the disconnect is on the ones that don't have a number of visitors because they're either a secondary draw or not a primary, or not a ticketed event.
So just to kind of back here, Warbirds say ask 5,000. He asked for a different amount and then amount per room. Then that amount of the $1,500 would be not what they're asking.
Well, the room night would change. But I would still only recommend, they still have the same number of visitors. So the $10 applied evenly. So if they came and only asked me for $180 per out of town visitor, I'm still gonna say, we're gonna apply 10. So you're still only gonna get 1,500.
The amount, so.
So
It's the same.
if we're asking for 42, but we only get funded 1,500, so we're gonna cut our event by that much, we're gonna have less visitors instead of growing the event.
I agree, it's a council decision. Like I said, I picked a logic to apply. The other fact remains, we still have 1 million more in requests than we have to give out. And I understand that there was a time that it wasn't closely monitored what the use is for. And we didn't have requests that would subsidize or that would restrict anybody from getting funded. And I think that has created a little bit of a problem because historically, one, we haven't monitored it. You turn in your report, you get what you asked for. And the only people that asked were funded. We don't have $2 million to give out. So I'm open to any law here. If you want to say tier 1 events get $50 a room night, tier 2 events get 20, tier 3 events get 2. If you can't predict your room nights, you get $2,000. I don't know. I'll do anything. You can pick the logic. I had to pick something to put in front of me.
Well, when we had this meeting last year, we were very clear that things. And with the room numbers and. But I'm understanding. That we're.
Then there's some that can't send. You know, let me see. Cultural Arts Heritage Program. Not a ticketed event, you're not gonna know. Or maybe Mural Fest is a better example.
We do have data. Borders of the cultural district tells us who comes in outside of 75 miles with the border. But you've got to understand, we're 44 blocks. We have events going on in 44 blocks. So we're not one-time events, but there's a big picture here.
So if you look at her application, it says an estimated number. And if we're gonna apply the room night object here, my estimated just went way up if I can tell you. But the people that count it, like Cody, who turns in an actual number, you know, that's solid data and solid return on
And
investment.
that's hard for us too, because we're not ticketed event. We're parking for our best that data, give it to us. It's hard to collect that without, you're right, a ticketed, like I sold this many tickets because we're a free event.
The other thing is we have invested in Placer AI. He has done that for the first. Been playing with it, toying with it. That's how we got the 60,000 number for the 4th of July. So for some events, we'll be able to get a lot better numbers. For others, I don't know that we will.
Gene, what are the typical night? What is the high? What is collected? Just
That the city's gonna get is
Yes,
probably
sir.
about $15,
Okay.
$15 to $18
on a typical room night.
on an average. And I mean, I say that because you're gonna level off for the whole year.
Yes, sir.
That's why I give you that average. During the summer, it's higher, but the off season kind of makes up. But yeah,
Based on $50 a night.
and so then when Vanessa says that $10 per room, you're basically giving a portion of that on tax back to them. What the city's gonna.
And that's the intent of POP. We give you a portion of what you pay at a hotel back to you. Now, the other thing we'll talk about is the short-term rental. Haven't seen a bump in that. We have everybody registered for the most part. We haven't seen a huge jump. I see a lot of for sale signs on short-term rentals, maybe having to register and pay your taxes makes you not want to be in the business so much. I don't know. That's an estimate. That's a estimate. So, we hope we'll have the jump. 4th of July will bring more short-term rentals. That's one we just have to watch here. We've never factored that data into our collections, and we're just now starting to do it. So we've got to see what we get from it.
What is our 365 day?
Well, if you give out 1.2 million, our 365 is 1.2.
Okay, that's the.
Now, if you say you're gonna give out 1.3, your 365 day is gonna go down to 1.1. And it won't be 365 days.
And that's a policy decision, correct? That's.
Correct. That's y'all's direction to me. Now, could I comfortably say we could give out 1.3 million and probably have some wiggle room and be at 295 days and live? Maybe we're comfortable with that.
What is the ramifications or the consequences of dipping below that 365?
Y'all have to tell me that because y'all told me to do. Now, I know the mayor can speak to it at Hurricane Harvey. That's y'all's
But
direction.
It's just so it's allocated, so where that money can go is a fine line. And so it's not just like a slush fund. And so if we, we have another hurricane, we have another event, do we really need to worry about blowing up signs and saying, come see us, or?
Well, so again, I'll defer to the mayor. He probably has more to say. My opinion probably won't help here.
Our biggest, the catastrophe of the storm wasn't just what was torn up, it's that we lost people for the year of the storm. Just for about 3 years. Oh, it was that long. Estimate what we were. Couldn't come up with a reason, yes. And it has taken looking at the numbers and the graph that you have put out here. It's really strange. I mean, you can see that it's 2017, things just went hell in a handbasket all over the city for everything. But they have been up and down ever since. And it appears lately that we may be moving back up to a higher level, which would really be a nice thing. But the danger that I see is like in anything else we do, where we're having to do a lot of estimating. We have got so much money to spend, and we've got to find an amicable way to do that that is fair to everybody that's trying to get funding. I'm sure that one process is better than the other. My concern is that we've got a lot of people trying to do programs that will bring people to town. Some of them are more successful than others. Still looking at a certain amount. And to find a way to spend that and nothing but that. And it's fairly simple to look at the math of it and say, yeah, we'll divide it up evenly among everybody's asking for money for whatever the event is, whatever your cost is every year. You'll get a percentage of that, and that'll be all. But planes come in and fly once or twice, and they don't have the huge overhead that some of these other folks do. So again, going back to the hurricane and what it did to us, influenced me to be a lot more skeptical of what we're guessing at. I'm not comfortable with it because that can change drastically in a hurry.
Brad, that also gives us thought to take. We can start getting our tourism back up quickly, whereby on the general fund have 110 days, which we're not back up to. That's going to be a slower rebuild process, but we can at least say, all right, we have all the money to pay what we committed. Now you people go and get our tourism business back. So it's a pretty big safety net. I think it's pretty important. That would be my analysis. But
The difficulty for the council is going to be the fact that we tell these folks sitting behind us, which they are. I mean, I don't want to have 2 or 3 more events. When somebody comes in, when Jennifer came in and with some folks talk about a $5 art show and like that, I think it's a great idea. But when we start trying to figure a way to fund that annually, not knowing for sure what the outcome is going to be, the guests can bite us in the butt, and I hate that. Care about that. Not here.
having some good numbers makes quite a solid.
The other thing, just Harvey, a couple of years, not gonna really. So I think living there was nothing to. Oh, there were venues, there was hotels, so I think that time, those 2 years, nothing really, weren't really spending money. I think you could probably take that reserve requirement down, because I think what you would be entitled to do was, hey, if it's $1,500 for fair, whatever Maritime, I think that's the number you should. Because I think, and then add on to it to, after the hurricane, we're gonna need X amount of funds to market our community, then you're gonna need that plus what. Because the marketing is gonna stop, right? Without, I mean, of course, our salary is gonna go, but the marketing. At that point, yeah, and that's the.
Because this 365 is, remember, it's contracted. So, you know, if I do a contract with Cody that says I'm gonna give him $45,000, and day after Hurricane Harvey, he says, I'm taking my money and I'm having my event. Well, we kind of have a contract.
Well, the difficulty with it, just the hurricane is that we know that we were trying to get over the hurricane, 2020 came along and nobody came to town because they're all wearing masks up in Dallas somewhere, you know, they weren't down here. Yeah. And so it was just another catastrophe that hit us, and it was tougher on us than it was a lot of people, because it's an outside place. It's somewhere where you come and get out and do outside things with a lot of people around you, and nobody was doing it. So anyway, it goes back to trying to predict something based on what's happened in the past, and our past 10 years has been something that's difficult to predict things on.
Also think it's an opportunity, wash or not, but it would be an opportunity to go to the state and say, hey, we've got this pot of money. Can we borrow from this when we get back on our, you know, you've got your 100 and whatever days, but we also know that that's not gonna get us to the hurricane. You know, if the sewer plant has massive damage, your 180 days is gone. That's just the options. Like Jatine said, maybe you back it down until there is a hurricane, and then you bump it back up, and you know, you do a fluctuating scale based on the economics of the year.
Yeah, so would you expand additional state funds?
Say that again.
Would you expand on your statement, the additional state funds you're talking about the NACDs for shoreline? Well,
I'm sorry?
you just said there, we go to the state.
No, I said, if we had a catastrophe, I would be willing to petition the state to say, we have this pot of money, can we borrow from it till we get back on our feet? Because we know if there's something catastrophic, our general fund reserve or our utility reserves are not gonna be able to cover that. And we're trying to still build those up from Hurricane Harvey. That is a very slow process because we dipped so low. I wouldn't want to take the chance of dipping too low on this, that we're in a 10-year rebuild process. To what you just said, though, I've asked Nanette to get every available funding opportunity for us from the state. I think we can get 2% more back for shoreline preservation. Maybe. So we're working through that process. There's some other nuances that she's looking into. She's been here all of a week, so let's give her a break. But yes, we are working on those things too. I want every option available to us put on the table, and then we can pick and choose and say that's for us or that's not for us.
I had some discussions with some of the members back here, you know, and kind of been a pain in the butt because I've been on camp trying to allocate these funds, not necessarily equally. Trying to pick, you know, I feel like we're always trying to pick and choose a winner and a loser here, which kind of puts us in a predicament. But is this, now that we have the CBB up and running, something that sourced to them, almost like P&Z does to us, and make recommendations to council from CBB.
So my hesitation in recommending that is that group is primarily made up from this group, and they're gonna have to, you're gonna have Jatine and Craig. Michael, No, you're gonna have Gene and Craig basically voting on everything, because everybody's gonna have to recuse themselves.
Yeah, it's too much a conflict. I don't
It's
agree
too much
with that
conflict.
in any way.
Now, if we wanna ditch all the people on here and get a citizen committee, absolutely. Don't necessarily think that's the best thing right now for what we're trying to do.
No, I mean, the board we said, I think is pretty good for what we're trying to accomplish.
Their focus is this $750,000 for advertising. How can they best advertise this community? If they start allocating the rest of this.
Okay.
I can just see us getting maybe in a little bit of trouble.
Everybody's kind of voting on their, something their own view.
I would.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's gonna have their best interest. I mean, especially because they're nonprofit, they're making their own money. There's gonna be no way that's gonna be an unbiased decision when that's.
And I said earlier, they've done a really good job of keeping it not personal interest on the advertising thing, but. You know, if there are events at stake, they're gonna have a lot more to say.
I just say, I mean, they're the experts in the room on
Yep.
this stuff, so why would we be able to take their recommendations other than pass?
I also want to just interject on that. It's not just having their primary job. Have this going on. Advertise with. Not if they're recommending how we spend the hot funds, that's gonna take. It's gonna be, all this gonna be is like. Maybe a conversation about, oh, we need to that instead of actually doing.
Could have just said that was a terrible idea.
I have explaining why.
Good, terrible idea. Could take the hotelier, the restaurateur, and the council member. And 2 citizens. And make a subcommittee that does this.
I think that.
This
is whatever, we can talk
I'm-
about and we can. I think we're smart enough to make it
You
happen.
already said. it
I
was
just had
terrible
a
idea.
better, I had
Got
a
it.
better bad idea.
I don't think
Yeah.
that's that bad of an idea in the sense that you have
Thank
Placer
you.
AI, right? You have Placer AI, and that's given us way more information. I mean, once we get our handle over the reports it can provide, I think it's way better than zip codes.
One
mean,
hundred
and then-
percent. You
And
won't have to
then
collect.
the final decision is still up to
I'll take a
council.
discount for that.
Okay. Also, note, I have the change from previous year. So Warbirds Over South Texas, Nene Vanessa gave them $1,500, was only 6,500 less than last.
We got a full check for 19.
That's your advertising money too?
No, that was not part of the advertising.
Where did we get the 8,000?
But a sponsorship.
I think that was too, that budget.
So 19, so you got 20 last year and you're asking for 22 more this year. 22 additional.
Yeah, because we're expanding.
Additional by the historical.
So last year, you requested 25,000, you were awarded 19,796.10 cents. This year, you're requesting 42,000.
So a $22,000 difference in.
Just for the advertising.
We spent their advertising in-house. I remember now, they did about, wasn't it like 6,000?
Something like that. I think total was around, and don't quote me because I don't have it from me, but I think the total was around 35. And so the 42 was all that together. Maybe I miscalculated on the request, but it didn't seem like we were way over from what we asked last time in totality.
Okay, here it is. Backwards.
And also, we do always have the opportunity to do 2 events for this year. March that we didn't have funds for, so taking a possible second event if the opportunity. So that's not calculated. in our heads and pennies.
So,
As well,
no, I don't have the county's money on here.
county spent another 80 something $1,000 event.
I believe in your book is what the county is giving all of these. In request.
County is awarding 16,500
Warbirds.
for
That's 20.
that's what this is all for 2026.
Well, yes, but y'all's calendar is different from the county's. I believe. So our events. 2020. What we got last year from the county is going towards that, which was only 10,000. This is for 2020.
So you got 10,000 from the county for the event, but
last year.
so apples to apples, they're giving you 10. And you're asking us for 42.
Where we do the event is in.
Yeah, I know, but the county has more money at their discretion.
Understand decisions don't have to be made today. We'll apply different and bring back new. Nobody's locking into anything today.
I agree, having. My questions are just trying to understand. One question is, so you took out signage. Or took out the signage on that one.
No,
But you gave it to other organizations.
I didn't take out anything on Warbirds.
It says remove
Right.
signage. So I'm just.
Okay, you're right, you're right. I applied the $10 a night to the and the visitors.
Move the signage, but you kept it on other, just say you're leveling the playing field to try to keep it fair to every organization. So when I'm reading the paper here, they mean signage to other organizations, but you took it off of theirs. So I'm just trying to understand that one.
So if I gave another organization signage, either they don't have a room night calculation. And what I said earlier, if I give Cody $1,500 at $10 per room night, I don't care if he spends it on signage.
It's that first part where. Yeah.
So you can take that sentence off. And say, he asked for a supplement of $280 per night per out of town visitor. I'm recommending 10 loosely. And so I'm gonna give you $1,500. I don't care what he spends it on, if it's an eligible expense. So if someone has signage over here, either they don't have a room night expense or they can use the money they get for that.
I'm just reading the.
I understand.
And just trying to make sure we tell everyone actually what.
Absolutely.
So the other thing is on the paper that I have on lights. Have them.
Right.
So is that just?
I just didn't think. I was focusing on my columns here, my added columns. And the other part is, maybe we put something in the district for the light. Can't do it this year. I mean, it's not, I know we have quotes and stuff, but I think this 95,000 is an ongoing cost, right? Year to year?
That is a 1-year lease. Originally, we got a 3-year lease. $37 for odds.
That being said,
What is the 95 to you? The lights are only gonna cost 35?
37,000.
And that also includes a, probably like tree.
That includes a, well, a 24-foot Christmas tree, however, I can talk about that. Okay. 30 foot. 37 is for the building facades, 22 for the tree, additional amount for extra lighting, signage, pop-ups. Aerial lifts we're responsible for, and electrical contingency is put in there. Administrative. So all of those things are that request.
Question, I did have a question on that. Lights itself was 76,000, and you had the admin down then, and I know that we're trying to go away from paying administration fee to people. So would you guys be able, if it was ever allocated to you guys, to have non-administration added on there, would you be able to handling those lights without that, or paying it for yourselves to?
I think that is.
I would be having on the site sucker for Christmas. Have that. Having this. You have to leave to do that.
11 weeks. It not only includes what we're already doing with the Christmas in the district. It starts with Halloween in the district. It includes tropical Christmas that the city does. I mean, this is a encompassing Christmas on the beach. It is an encompassing 44, let's say Austin Street facades, pulling people in from the north entrance of the cultural district. I've even checked with wherever he is about traffic and traffic that miss that bypass going straight down in front of Austin. We're missing because bypass. So it includes lights right there at that entrance to attract people. There's a lot of thought that fire, not just lights and fence. It's for 11 weeks.
I also need to remind you that next year, going through the each district plans to gear up to do a redo of Austin Street in the next capital budget. Would be a good opportunity for us to get the electrical and the street lighting in place that then could support this. So it's just another piece of input.
At the end of the day, it's a great idea, but there's a past it. Not tied in that. Operate on it. Not tied.
Has to put a head in the bed. So however you're gonna measure that, you know, you can say you have an estimated 25,000 cars, but you can't tell me how many of those people spend the night here. So that's how I'm saying it's not really tied to an event. And if I'm gonna pay tropical Christmas heads and beds, I'm not gonna pay for a car that drove through there, because then I'm paying for it twice. I mean, you can, I'm not saying a definitive, I'm not, I'm just saying, if you're counting the tropical Christmas traffic, someone came to town for tropical Christmas, they got a hotel room to come see this, and while they're here, they drove past the lights and they hit the museum and they hit the art center. Does everybody get to count that person?
The reality is people come to Rockport as a destination. They don't come specifically. So that logic to say that why would people come to Rockport? The whole package.
I don't disagree.
Yeah, funding part of it is a challenge.
Right.
How do you
It
fund?
is.
for
Exactly.
But if we get $15 a room and I'm gonna give 10, 20, 30, $40 for one person. Here's Here's what I would suggest. If you want to do something this year, invest in the Christmas tree and hold our first annual tree lighting. And that's off of Austin Street, which we're trying to redo. We won't be directing traffic to an area that's about to be a huge construction zone. Hopefully soon. But we get a tree lighting, we start on the tree, we have our Christmas tree. Maybe next year we add an archway entrance into the district or something and go piece by piece. And as we get the capital pieces fixed out, we introduce the fluff pieces.
See, I do like that idea, just have to cost is area allocate a lot of that time changing the next couple of years.
Yeah, and
how
this
it's gonna
is-
look, how it's gonna be done.
So if we're gonna spend, I'll get right to you just a second. If we're gonna spend a year planning out Austin Street with the area merchants and everybody. And then in that year, Scarlett and Doak hopefully are breaking ground. We're not gonna want traffic there. We're not gonna want traffic through that area until, we're not gonna want to encourage exorbitant amounts of traffic until we get some of it cleaned up. I mean, we got a mess down there. And we gotta clean it up.
But the reality is your margins are gonna.
The merchants are absolutely gonna suffer because it's gonna be a construction zone.
Yeah. How many of the little shops will be able to stay open?
I can't. Should we not fix Austin Street? I mean, we're gonna have to offer a walking path. Yes, you're gonna have to park on Magnolia. You're gonna have to walk around. Yes, when Scarlett and Doak are digging everything up, we're gonna have some alternative routes. But we don't wanna funnel 10,000 cars down there for 3 months.
Yeah.
I wanna funnel 10,000 visitors that are coming to shop, but not drive by to look.
Only thing with the Christmas trees, I don't want to compete with Christmas on the beach. If they're going to the beach, go see the.
They have a big lighting on.
The reality is Christmas downtown, Christmas tree.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Scarlett.
Actually,
Oh, she submitted a speaker card.
she just submitted it like right here.
Oh, she has it. You wanna go grab that and let the mayor go ahead and let Scarlett speak? That'd be okay for her. It's an informal setting, so we're gonna let you speak.
Okay, what do you mind just right?
Come on.
First, I have one person that hey, well-known Rockport actor, let me talk to you.
Okay, can everybody hear me? I just wanted to address all of these questions and I came a little bit prepared. So one of the reasons why we personally support the holiday lights in the district and on the facades of the downtown buildings is because of the seasonality of Rockport. Talking about heads and beds, Jutine told me that his occupancy rate is 35% from November 1st through the end of December. But his normal occupancy rate in the higher season is 75%. So that's a huge difference. And what the holiday lights, if we light up the downtown, I actually did an economic impact study. I'm not actually a formal part of RCAD, but I conducted the study and then Jennifer and I kind of teamed up and started working on this together this year. And the economic impact for the cities that have done this before, we looked at 10 different cities that are roughly the size of Rockport who implemented holiday lights in the downtown on the downtown buildings. So, you know, the Rockport's downtown is the heartbeat. That's where the center of all of the activity is. And so the 10 cities that did this saw their spending up from 10 to 50%. They saw their hotel occupancy rate go up even 20% in the first year. And so, you know, I can send for those of you who haven't seen the study, I can send that to you because I think it's going to be important for you to analyze the opportunity here. And not having a really strong holiday season, for Christmas, Thanksgiving, Halloween, that's kind of our slower season. Not having that actually hurts the hot funds that we're receiving to be able to spend on all of these things. And so the cities that have done this have all reported a huge return on investment. And so you can call it, some of the cities do call it an event. They'll call it, like the big bright light show or something, but, and they might have a, tree lighting or something that goes along with it. Call it an event, but all of the holiday events can be connected to it. And, there's going to be a lot of community buy-in and excitement that is going to end up being free advertising for the city. So if you have the holiday lights, draped over the downtown buildings, then people are going to be out there taking selfies, posting on social media. It's going to go viral. We've actually, this is something that we've been working on since the beginning of the year, and actually have met with a big group of the downtown merchants, and so many of them are ready to do a pop-up shop. They may have a photo op like Santa Claus or something, in their shop, or, do a specialty cocktail menu if it's a bar. So you're going to get a lot of community buy-in if we support this endeavor. And it can be tied to an event, for the purpose of saying this is an event, but it's actually adding a new season. So in my logic, looking at the other cities that have done this, it's just a no-brainer because, there's absolutely no reason why Rockport shouldn't be a holiday destination. And, and again, like I mentioned, 35% hotel occupancy is pretty slow for a holiday season, which is what Jutine provided for me. And the cities that did this in the past, that were a summer destination, once they implemented holiday lights in their downtown, they ended up having their winter numbers rival the summer numbers. So, I think the numbers really speak for themselves. I'd really like for all of you guys to see that. Yeah, we've been, that was it. We've been working on this since the beginning of the year, and a little bit of the timeline. We have been working, so Jennifer and I have been working with 2 different companies to get cost estimates. The cost estimates, one was a little bit higher. We've gone back and forth a lot with these 2 groups to really make sure that we presented something that was going to be the best for Rockport. So we really went detail by detail. Both of us have been working on this. So from our perspective, especially as a business owner and somebody who's very invested in the downtown, I look at things from the perspective of, is this going to be a return on investment? And the track record of cities that have done this show an enormous return on investment. So we're hoping that, I'm hoping that we could do, even if it's, and I know that there's a lot of asks, and so I completely respect that, but even if we could do some of the downtown buildings, take even a section of the downtown buildings and do the draped holiday lights, that's going to, give us an opportunity for photos for next year. We could do it bigger and better next year. But if we could get something that could get this off the ground, that would be, I think that would be a really good move. And would be, it would be able to prove the concept, even if we didn't get the full budget. So I'm hoping that we can do that. I think the tree would be my second priority. I think it would be a bigger priority to do holiday lights on the downtown buildings. And then as far as construction, just kind of wanted to address that as far as construction of, the harbor front. We're going to be doing construction on the bulkhead, first, before we do any construction on the property. And equipment's gonna be on the property. I don't think, you know, of course, the renovation of Austin Street, that would affect this, but I don't think the harbor front, it's not an imminent, you know, situation that we have to worry about where we would, you know, want to postpone doing holiday lights until the harbor front's done. In fact, you know, I will say that part of the reason why we're interested in this is that, you know, we have been trying to get restaurant owners and hoteliers interested in doing a hotel on the harbor front. And those hotel occupancy rates and having a slow season are some of the biggest concerns that we have in getting people interested. So for us, you know, I think it's fun, it's good for us, it's good for our development, it's good for the community, it's good for the downtown merchants. And it's going to set Rockport up to have, you know, a longer high season, have a new high season, that would even out that season. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say. Thank you so much.
Package those. We did. Number 6.
What is the 1 year budget? If we were to do just lights, what would maybe
Lights, and you're just like
just lights?
the 37,005. You have to take into consideration also, there's a contingency for electrical. We may need some electrical work. And then also we will have to provide aerial lifts and rigging. So there are some other things that what I would suggest that we look at is 37 for the lights, the facades.
Can you speak a little bit to the electrical on the buildings? I know we talked about.
So, yeah, I mean, that's what I had going through my mind, but let's go on the building.
How do you spend?
That's how do you spend hot money? So like what we've had, like we've been working together for a long time and we're using the median and drops off the lights and stuff like that for the power, which the city pays for, which is great. It works out great. But we all want to do away with those lights. So having the future plan, you know, thinking ahead, that would be year-round lighting is what we need to start looking at in the new plan. But right now,
we can also wire it.
yeah, but right now, I mean, that's some invasive digging and bringing some of that power to the bulb outs. There might be some there.
There are some
Solar,
unknowns.
solar, I mean, there's options.
Hot wire lights right now.
I mean,
And
yeah.
when and it's only if they get to it.
They're LEDs, so they're.
But I think that utilizing that's gonna be power off of either gonna be a new power source from the city, from some of those lines and, you know, pigtailing into those, or you're gonna have to be using the whoever's office it is business and running it off their power.
Right,
Which
yeah.
is probably not rated for that.
Well, and that's why we have the contingency in there. But I will tell you, it's been very well received by the merchants. I've been doing what RCAD has been doing for the past, I would say 7 years, is we have been the caveat, we've been the central point for merchants to pay a certain amount to have rooftop lighting on their building. So we've had rooftop lighting for the past 7 years. We've also done lighting at the Veterans Memorial Park. We raised about 8 years ago. We did some red, white, and blue Christmas trees there. We've done, you know, pop-ups. We've done storefront light contests. We've done harbor light contests. We've done all kinds of things. And so that's all been paid for by the merchants. It funnels through RCAD. We are a nonprofit. We don't pay tax. They don't pay tax. And we literally manage between the company and each of the merchants. Those continuing for months, right? When there's issues that come to RCAD. Which part of what we, it's not like we just over it. There's a lot of interaction.
We can gather some information.
I think having a permanent source, like an investment into downtown where it's gonna stay and having a permanent location for that power that y'all can use for any event. I mean, or the lights can be there all the time.
It's an
But
investment,
not
basically.
something that we're taking it down after the 5 months and then we're gonna reapply for the same money the next year. I mean,
No, I
the whole
agree.
thing is, beef it up to where we're not asking for
investment.
money at the end of the year. That cost has gone away. We're already figuring it into city staff, power. So I think that would be easier to swallow as a one-time cost for electricity than a reoccurring cost.
What time, y'all were wanting to put these up in October?
Originally. That captured Halloween.
But what I'm hearing is. I think it's a great idea, just. I just, to me. What a perfect. That thing often does that cost, or even. Have to take care to actually plan the Heritage Way. Merchants are kind of. Just to. Spend that money and have to redo it all again, doesn't sound feasible to me. That's where my head is at. I believe what you're doing. If the merchants who have Christmas in the district, that is a good, couple weeks. Worked on that and made that bigger. Base of event office. Actually have a. Support to us that hey, actually brings in, that would be. Because they do stand cost, they do pop-ups. Logo with. Bigger, that would be, like you guys all of this to offer. So just going over it, I think. This year, I just don't know if I'm ready to. Let's just take it off. Let's just do it. There's a lot more planning, and I think there's a lot more things going into it. Especially the biggest to me is the Austin Street having to be redone. Going to be closed, especially when you're doing construction. Not going to do it this year, obviously. Next year, construction. That's going to be the time when it's down there and actually. That's the
thing too, like, right, the vision. If you're gonna try to bring something on and close it a couple years, bring it back, what a great thing. Ready to go when all done, and that's the big pool.
It's difficult to get through. For one line. Get the electric. Done, July's gone. You got August, September, and October's gotta be done. So setting the money aside this year might be a wasted effort, because I don't know if we could get the electric sources down there, get the plan done for the lighting and so forth this year in the next 9 weeks, 10 weeks.
Could we, could we come back to you guys with maybe, a smaller budget, maybe like pick one strip of area, just so that we could prove the concept, it's a money issue that, in the way that I'm at is, it's better to do something than nothing. We'll have, like I said, we'll start getting that foot traffic downtown. So we could circle back with you guys and, present maybe a smaller budget, talk to AP, have, some conversations about feasibility of doing a smaller piece of it.
Year one, we got a new street, we got.
Those questions, that's a good.
But you
Be
started,
real, like talking to AP, doing that,
Yeah.
that's gonna save a lot of time.
I understand the concern as far as, I'm separating the two, it's building and it's road, I get the project with redoing the roads. But we still have to sustain the merchants within the building, so I understand the importance of trying to bring an attraction down into an area that needs better support during this time frame, historically, but the concern is when we start this project, I think it's a way for them to feel like, knowing the traffic by car is gonna be reduced, they want to still maintain foot traffic, bringing something down there that's new. Do we have to worry about that this year? No, as that project won't be started until maybe 2 years out, I see it on both sides. I don't wanna rush something too quickly and then not give you what you guys deserve either. I don't know. Don't rush into anything. I like things very well planned out. I don't know if this is quite there yet. But it is definitely something I wanna encourage at some point to put money towards.
So brings in. So Andrea had sent you.
No,
I said that.
Brad said that. So what, y'all have to reconcile that.
Where are the trees at during the?
We did that last year.
And Memorial.
So would you be
City has
replacing the
two.
caption?
Yeah, actually, crab tree. Now, the way we. It's
There's really no.
The crab
I
tree
don't
is a
increase the
great-
number.
It was, yeah.
No additional, if they're gonna be replacing one tree with another, it's no addition to the number of trees.
But this would be a bigger, more traditional tree.
Right. A light tree.
Very much light. I will tell you with the crab trap tree, both First Learning Tree kids and Sacred Heart kids, we have boxes and boxes born. So you can buy these clips, but you have to buy it one. Got them, fridge. Here. More than what actually went on the tree last year. So that is something that we could do.
We're buying the tree or leasing?
So I would, the quote in here is to lease the tree with the facade lights from the vendor. I would suggest, and we need to talk about this, putting up the crab tree is the city resources of the city budget. Resources to get that top on there. We can purchase it outright. I don't think it makes sense to lease a tree and end up paying for it over and over and over again when we have the ability to put it up. Issue is going to be maintenance, make sure that, when the light goes out, who's going to be doing that, right? That you've got that management piece. Versus a vendor that you lease those through who will come and take care of all of those wonderful things for you.
And where are we gonna store?
And the city's been storing for us for a year. So we got
Store the
in.
crab trap?
No,
The
we're doing
garland
that.
takes up a box.
We own 2.5 acres personally, and that's where the crab traps are. But anyway.
The garland that you're talking
The
about?
garland, yeah, that didn't
it's in a
survive
box.
very well.
Yeah.
It was stored at the city facility and it didn't survive very well.
Better just to allocate. 30 years.
Yeah, we're, well. We could put a. Don't like to, but. Keep the now is around half, right?
It would be probably beneficial to all the older folks who won't know where the bathroom is.
All the older folks that can't go to the bathroom, it's right outside the door on the right. The younger folks that know where the other ones are, go, let the old folks have the close ones.
Oh, Lord.
Okay. So, here's the thing. I'm hearing that we don't wanna fund the lights. See that as a consensus? This year.
This year.
Okay. We're gonna move from that. Now. How do you want me to apply equality to all the other events that have asked? I am hearing from different people that, you know, Cody wants to grow his event. Cody could hook his up to a Memorial Day or 4th of July, and yes, get to count all the people double and get more money. But he chooses to have it in an off season to help the off season, so. Great, do we take that into consideration? What are the factors that we need to pull together to get this right? Or do we not pull it together and get it right this year? Do we go event by event and pick something relatively arbitrary and move on? I'm gonna say again, this has been a process of reining it in. So. What do you?
Air show on the 4th of July was a big thing years ago. I'm talking 1990, 90. And it was a big event. We had as many as 15,000 people in the beach park waiting for the airplanes. So it was a big event. Would you want to do that again for the 4th of July? We get just about as many people in the beach park down there as we need to get in there now. So whether you would need more of them or not, I don't know. If you're gonna get around to Memorial Day or Veterans Day or whatever, it might make a difference how many people show up then, which would also be around the holiday, and you could tie it to military and like that kind of thing. It seems to work well when they're doing it now, but again, if you want to pair it with something else and hopefully get a bigger bang for the buck or whatever, it might be something to consider because it was a big event back then on the 4th.
Attended the event like this past year. Having trouble wrapping my head around. It's such a, and it's hard for me to wrap around this last 2. I've done such a great job. Last year we got help. Very historical point alone, that was for our town and brought.
Well, he included a solid number of how many out of town people it brought, so.
I just kind of wrap my head around.
I would like to get to at least 30,000 for that event.
Yeah, I'm supportive of it. What is the year-over-year difference?
Numbers? Year-over-year
I apologize for not bringing that with me, but we have grown, in my opinion, exponentially. A typical air show on the low end is about $75,000 to pull off, up to 150 for a respectable air show. And last year, I think we spent around 80 total. So we are growing significantly, especially adding that third day. So that's what makes us special is the third day. But Vanessa's right. We picked Veterans Day, which is second weekend in November. And to Scarlett's point, we're in 35% occupancy land. So we don't have our trailer hitched to anybody else. So that's probably our Achilles very positively that we have done a substantial job growing it since 2020. So
we have an estimated 12,000 visitors this event. 150 people stayed in hotels.
and that's not, I need to go back. I don't think that's including participants because we buy hotel rooms. Tina, I forget how many hotel rooms we buy.
I think it says in here that you buy 10 rooms.
More than that, I think.
Okay, let me look. I thought I saw it in here. I could be wrong.
I know we're gonna start. Fine at that last year.
That includes that.
That includes 150 during the year as well.
For his numbers. I'm not Googling your show, I'm giving info.
Right now, we gotta. We still need to cut or allocate or whatever. The ask was 42, we removed the advertising already, so we're down to 40. My opinion would be to at least try to allocate at least 30,000 to this event.
Okay. Is that a consensus? You want me to plug in 30? How much is the county contributing to
County's
this?
only
event?
doing 10, it's better county step up to 20 and you guys step up.
So the problem with that is the county doesn't have the leniency on uses of funds. They told me that 10,000 had to be used for promotional or advertising. So that built our website and does additional social media and buy our challenge coins and patches and hats. We're not allowed to buy fuel with that.
Okay. So I'm gonna plug in 30, see where we are. On Maritime Museum, thoughts on that? That's a $20,000 change from year over year from last year. They asked for 50, that's for 75. This year, I put them at 70. I mean, we can apply the logic that they have to stay flat since the taxes are flat. I mean, if you want more money, go get more money, but we can't apply that down the line because there's new events.
I'm fine with that. I think they're doing. I feel like every year they're doing a little bit more what they have right now there, and so.
Okay,
Potentially they're able to bring more heads to that.
Okay, Winefest, asked for 30, I put them at 3,200. Winefest is number 3. Because they have an estimated 1,200 in attendance and 320 motel room nights. So for $75,000, you're getting 320 motel room nights. What would you like to see Winefest at?
30,000.
They asked for 30,000.
Is that something that we could maybe offset some of that with the sponsorship? Through the city, through,
You would take it from the general fund?
no, maybe I don't know.
I'm okay with the 3,200. I think it is a fundraiser. I think with that one, I know it is a lot of locals here. I'm not sure. Do it.
Well, but according to their numbers, 300 people, 20
Okay.
motel rooms. And if we go back to Cody,
I understand.
okay, just so you know, we're gonna leave it at
Well,
3,200.
I don't know how I don't know how we can put the same dollar amount to each event. Per
100%.
and
Yeah.
that's what's tough for me to try to decide. You did it with the $10 and that's perfectly fine. I'm just not by,
Okay,
the number, how we get to the.
so Winefest as a fundraiser, we think qualifies for less. And we're comfortable leaving that at 3,200.
Like Winefest, you're charged to go to these. You're claiming that's event that. I
I
don't,
also think it's important for us to see historical data on some of these, like what they brought in head to bed. Their room number from, the last few years, so we can see if these events are progressing. If they're kind of at a standstill, so we're allocating money to events that we think that may be the next big thing instead of the thing that's just consistent we done in Rockport.
So right now that's on the honor system. Another year and we'll have the base one. Actually, because right now it's honor system. Like Cody said, it's her tax. They're asking for everybody to.
If you could support like Benford, he doubled his attendance year, from one year to the next. That's gonna be an event that I'm gonna say, especially with the new advertising ability, that, let's put some additional money toward this event, which
Agreed.
So we did our first ever commercial under the new marketing program last year. We were the first cats out of that. Did you get any feedback off of those commercials and how they ran and stuff?
Yeah, Carl gave all of us, I think, the hits or whatever.
I remember they were pretty substantial.
We got, I mean, yes, a lot of people saw the advertising. What that tells us, not how many people came. Okay, Christmas on the beach. We were awarded 5 last year. 4,400 this year. I put them at 2,500. What do we want to put that at? 2,500? Okay, let's talk. Yes, sir.
I'm so sorry. Can you go back up to the Maritime Museum real quick on the historical preservation? You said that we were awarded 50,000? No,
Yes, I do say that.
yes, you did. We were not.
What were you awarded?
34,428. So we went from receiving over 100,000 down to 34,428 in 1 year.
Okay, and then we're asking for 70 this year.
Yes,
To
75.
Right, I believe that also when we spoke to Todd Hunter, you all got a big stake rent, right?
That's for exhibits and the facility upgrades. That's not for historical preservation. Historical preservation deals with the conservation and efforts of ensuring the protection of those artifacts. Hence the reason why I also included the disaster preparedness, so that way we can mitigate damages to some of the very rare artifacts that we have in our storage.
But on the historic, we have to also remember, we have to drop that $17,918. We have to stay at $100,000.
Yeah.
I said,
We'll be okay on that. I'll make that okay, okay? I'll make that. So do we want to leave them at 70, knowing that they were awarded 34 last year? Or is this one we want to keep flat?
I think last year, the problem I have with last year's numbers is that how we just kind of went, we shifted gears from the way it had been.
From you get everything.
Yeah, to a whole shift. So last year's numbers kind of maybe skewed a little bit.
Like I said, it's a process.
Yes, no, I'm not mad at the
No,
process.
I agree.
Also, all the numbers would have been, because what we did was do a fair allocation across the board in percentage. We took all of them so we could distribute.
Mhm.
So there would have been change for each allocation, not based on justification, but on fairness of distribution.
We didn't go in that.
I'm okay with at least the 70 for.
We're fine with Christmas on the beach. Fine arts celebration, they asked for 79, I'm recommending 45,650. That takes out the advertising and
76.
oh, hold on, yeah.
Yeah, where you at?
I'm so sorry.
That's 79 and I'll give it 76.
No, because remember, we're taking out the administrative charges, which we talked about just a few minutes ago, which puts it down to 45,650.
On the chart though, it says 76.
That's correct. The administrative charges were left in that amount because Jennifer wanted to discuss it. We said we're taking that out, so that's 45,650 is what's left. What do you guys, what is your thinking on the fine arts celebration?
I have a question.
Brings the amount. RCAD right now, Brad. I'll show you.
hold my comments over. After I talked to Jennifer, I left in the event support because she wanted to verify that that was something that we were not going to support paying for. And after we removed that amount, the allocation left from the 76.5 is 45,650. So do you want to give 45,650 to a new event, Rockport Fine Arts Celebration?
So I'd like to make a few points here. First of all, this is an event that conversations with Texas Maritime Museum. What a great partnership it would be for their one-day wine fest. To have a 4-day fine art celebration. Conversations with you, numerous times, and with Mayor and Brad about this whole concept. We've also had conversations most recently with the arts being a part of this as well.
I'm still learning.
Okay, so we've had discussions about this as being an indoor event partnered with the one-day wine fest to make it a 4-day event over Memorial Weekend.
No, it doesn't sound like
It's something. Just initially.
Yeah.
Event.
The new event.
Art center.
Well, that conversation just happened last week.
Because we allocated that money to them. Happen.
Is an admission charge event.
They need to.
We had discussed it. The idea of having something like that is not. I mean, like something, yep, went for us. There were issues that came up that made it a little awkward at the time, but now it's been revamped just a little bit. Would it work well? I think with the right investment from people, the right, people came in and were supportive of it and involved in it, it could be a good event. I don't see a problem with it. It's my concern is every time we have one of these big reviews of something is that I don't know what exactly will happen based on we're guessing. That's a guess. If we sponsor it to whatever the amount is and the event doesn't have the concept is not a bad concept. We talked about it at some length and it sounded like a pretty good thing. And I believe it could be a profitable one for the city and for the people that if we did it, I think it would even hopefully be a benefit for people that do.
And I would just add that a lot of these events happen from. I always tell that to all elected, mentioned Art Center as well, for, Art Festival. Hopefully they look at pivoting our occupancy. That's where we're kind of crowding everybody during that. I almost say, like, if I was, in your position, I'd be like paying a premium to have these events, what Cody does on an off peak. Instead of the $10, you say, hey, you'll get 15 if it's on. That's just from
we're not stuck in.
Can't be 110%.
right.
not really yet. It's really premature. It's very great.
We're just super premature on the art center.
It's kind of sounds to me a little bit conflict focused. And I don't know, I mean, we put on art. That's my,
Utilizing the city's allocated days at the Rock to support this. And then that changed a little bit, and that's when our initial, and good luck, Karen said, very premature at this date, only because when we talked now, that that shift or that change has occurred. However, Michael and I have been talking about it for quite some time as being to absolutely. That would work. If it's
I think if we do the placeholders, do we hear more back from the art center and local arts?
I'm gonna leave the 4,500 in there for our county purposes.
45,000.
Going that's a placeholder. I'd like for you to give them very specific information as to what you want to hear back from.
You know, the mayor and I have set meetings. And I think it's just gonna take some time. I think the board for the arts center needs to hear what the concept is. Make sure there's not conflicting interests, conflicting events. If like for it to be supportive of the groups, especially if we're doling out the funds to be able to support all the events.
It would be helpful. I was sitting looking at it a little further to know. Their involvement in something like this.
Qualifications to make it
I mean,
successful.
that's what we heard at one point. But it turned out that that's not necessarily what we needed to deal with. And it would be very helpful to know that kind of.
Sure, absolutely, and I can tell you right now, heard our board of directors, she will be a lead from the cultural arts standpoint. She is the former executive director, was for many years at the Center for the Arts. I'm not sure if everyone's aware of that. Certainly qualification to lead some. But we like.
What time frame? Guys get our budget of. Full approval, budget approval.
Has to be presented.
Possible that we. I think there's a possibility here, but and to Jane's point, off-season want to help the Maritime too, which is not in this off-season. So there's still a lot of conversation to happen. But I like the idea of this collective event, but maybe we carve that out, set it aside and come back for a later decision on that, because I think there's a lot of potential for a lot of us here. I can't make that mid-August deadline. Or before that meeting.
So what I'm hearing you say, and you tell me if I'm wrong, that would like to do, we would probably be benefiting more from an off-season event. And we don't have the time for this off-season to get it done. Is that what I heard or not?
I don't see us getting it pulled together for the fall.
No, this would be for Memorial Weekend.
That's what she's saying. We want to pull it away from Memorial Weekend in honor of what Jatine said. And allow Michael then to have more of a off-season event, right?
I mean,
I don't know.
That's
I
how many
think-
years.
yeah,
That's where
Yeah.
the,
So-
to consider is giving a premium, rate on off-season to encourage some of that.
So I
Like
think
instead of
that,
10, 15.
That's what I would.
that's what Jatine said, and I
I don't
think,
think it's an awful idea. I think it'll encourage moving and helping those downtimes too, where.
so this is kind of the first year that we, y'all know where we are. I hear a really good matrix to be cut. That has come out of this conversation. And I will, with Placer AI and a good matrix, I think next year we can have a plug and play event. Here's our bottom line. Here's how it can spread out over tier 1, 2, 3 event, off-season event, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm hearing a very good matrix coming out of the conversation. So as hard as it is, the matrix is working itself out to make it easier and subsequent. I don't think you're wrong. Cody, sorry.
So question with the new AI tool. I don't know, it's just a question. Give my answer. But me, a hot fund, it's a reinvestment opportunity to have multiple touch points. If you invest it right, and the tool can have these metrics to say somebody came for an event Memorial Day weekend. Well, because they love Rockport so much, they came back to my event in November. And seeing that people are coming back and we're growing not just new visitors, but people are coming multiple times a year to spend their money here versus Victoria. So to me, that's the mission, is to have multiple touch points for multiple visitors to come to our area.
So we're never gonna be able to measure, I'm gonna say never, because I don't know what Elon's putting together tomorrow, but at this point, we can't measure one person came back 5 times. We can look at the events. You had, 75,000 unique hits from out of town. And he had a 78% occupancy or 99% occupancy. Okay. Because our sales tax are gonna reflect that. So we've now, instead of 2 measures, we have 3. And that's all it is another piece of data that we have to take in with everything.
So, we're looking at hotels. Hotels are limited, right? We really look at the occupancy rate for short-term rentals, the ones that we have registered.
Takes it all. We'll get our data.
Here on the, this event that we're talking about with the Cultural Arts District.
Getting you straight is a failing
I know,
mission.
we gotta pay you more, but,
No, please.
the 45.6, are we gonna keep that as a placeholder for this budget cycle?
Y'all talk it out, but I was gonna put it there for our budgetary purposes, but we're gonna come in over because y'all aren't reducing, y'all are
Yeah.
increasing.
I mean,
So,
I think we put it in there as a placeholder, but also keeping, we wanna hear from the Cultural Arts District and the Center for the Arts and.
so what I'm gonna say is they have 10 days to get back to us.
I don't know if the Memorial Day event is, keep it as a placeholder, we make our budget decision in August.
Are you saying you may not want to fund it on that date?
Or we may not. wanna
Give them the
put it this
opportunity,
year.
as Jatine pointed out, a different date may be better for the hot funds.
It's an indoor show. February would be fabulous.
But I don't just want to throw the baby out with the bathwater.
No, agreed.
The event is,
Agreed.
what they presented is Memorial Day event.
Cody's taking a risk on weather though, putting his in November. This is a pretty safe bet on an indoor one in November, December, which of course people are buying Christmas stuff. I don't know how much high-end art.
Why don't we just keep it in the budget? Try to have some.
You get a subset of your board.
Jennifer can have her time to get her stuff more in line, 10 days, we'll put it. Back if it. Let's just give them some time.
Okay, Christmas lights, we're mixing that for this year. We're working it into the plan, and just so everybody here knows, after the budget is approved, we have been directed to start a 1-year planning process to rehab Austin Street, starting with the existing plan and gathering input from everybody down there. So we're gonna meet once a month. And whoever wants to have input, remember, just because you get to have input, if we don't do it your way, doesn't mean you didn't get to have input. It means we just did it a different way. So
When is that gonna start?
after the budget's approved,
Okay.
not until,
There's not a defined date.
no, we gotta get through step one. October, November, somewhere around there, we'll start hitting it up. And then their plan is to build it into the tax rate for next year. They actually had looked at doing it this year, but we think it's a longer process. So we need to be sure that the lighting and the electrical to support the level of lights that you're asking for is done. So we're gonna have groups going to AEP. What do we need? How much? Where do we need it? It's gonna be a process, a year-long process. Okay, Ryan, you don't have the capacity for your staff to support this year, or do you? No? All right. Heritage programs, cultural arts. Keep it. Mural Fest. Listening to Andrea. Little theater. Rock. Seafair.
So that was just advertising that was cut out of that one?
I think so. What number was Seafair?
Repairs, well. So they applied for. In advertising and encouragement and promotion of the arts.
There you go, so that was just cutting off their advertising.
That's all shifted to this, we're not cutting advertising, we're shifting it to the CV.
They did not submit for Hummingbird. Friends of Fulton Mansion, he submitted late. Squeezed it in. So we've kept that flat. And then the other one that submitted was Bountiful Bowls. She submitted late. And how much did she ask for?
She asked for 5,000 in advertising.
So that was next.
It'll be covered. The.
Okay, hold on.
We did not fund Hummingbird last year. She asked for advertisement only.
That's all the one.
Yeah, so she didn't get anything last year. Last year we funded Bay Education Center, Smithsonian and Oysterfest. Also that were not requested for a total of $31,000. None of those were submitted.
Winterfest is one of those that I think we can handle through the advertising.
Of course.
To, you know, help with the CV, because I'm sure they're being asked there at some point.
Good, what's on there now, like, the only other thing is, I know this calculation on this sheet right here, the one right here. I know you have 1.3.
It's gonna be all different.
Well, this one right here, you have it all added up to the 1,345,000. That's with the 76 on there, so. If we took off. The amount to make it 45, that. 1,900. Add that thing. Out there to. Not make it.
Well, yeah, basically that'd be an offset. But then we would still be at 1,345.
I just want to make that,
So now your decision is gonna be. If you keep this placeholder for the fine arts, that's fine, you're still at 1,345. If that doesn't happen, you're still at 1.3. Are you comfortable? If we do not meet a 1.3 collection rate, are you comfortable taking that extra amount out of the reserves?
I am, on the hot fund reserve, I'm comfortable Almost having it as a,
Loosen it up a little.
yeah, I mean, we have the 365. But almost have like a moving target on it when it year by year. I don't want to see.
I'll be in your. Oh. I believe in this case. I think that.
What I'm gonna ask Shelley to do is be sure and get, if we can get a verification on this last year award for everybody. I will plug that in, I'll plug in these new numbers. We'll see where we are.
Also watch.
Yeah, we may have to shift. We may have to do a little bit of shifting, but it'll be okay, I promise.
And if that's the case, you just allocated, if it was for historic preservation, which.
It's gonna be for signage.
Or something, yeah.
Yeah.
But their overall numbers stay the same, but we just.
We're close enough that we can work it out, okay? We'll be okay there. I'll put it back together. You'll have 10 days. Do a new sheet. If nobody has any big heartburn, then we're gonna go with the number, okay?
And can I ask, is there, from the ones behind me, they're just staring daggers? Is there any like huge heartburn in these numbers? You know, 'cause like last year when we threw a wrench in everybody's gears when we did the shift, there was some.
We did have a big meeting.
Yeah.
But it ended okay.
But where we go today? Are we okay?
So, never mind.
I think, I mean, we expected that maybe the 2 years ago where we got everything. And this year, we are aware of this EVB and we're gonna have a voice in that it's going, so. I don't feel any great heartburn when we are center.
I've mentioned to a lot of people. Before we meet that third. And what's going. Follow down. So I think in that sense, I think we have a little. I will also add that I've also platform.
That's why I come back. In the day, but, I know, I have faith that we are going to be okay on that. Finally. Yeah. It's a good team.
So I do have a concern about, the balance. The value that nonprofits bring to the table. And you. Maybe 5%. Or that was approved. Or going. And what the nonprofits do and what they bring to the but, you know, Rockport's known for its charm and history and arts and culture. Market all that to have the backup for those nonprofits. We produce those events. Out of balance. Weighted. Now, to some degree, that's okay, but to the degree it is right now, I'm just concerned about the value that nonprofits bring to the table. We're the ones out there delivering the events. We're the ones being creative in doing that. We have to be creative. We're the ones bringing the volunteers to the tables to make these things happen. And I'm just concerned about the amount and the weighted, and it's weighted right now, going to this gym that's been. So it's about a 60. About 60. But I know we just made some changes, but I think that kind of netted out. So that's a concern that I have. The other thing, and I really didn't realize that the council had made consensus. I guess that was the last city council meeting that I missed. I couldn't get in the front doors because they were locked after 5.
No, that was last year. That was the process.
About the admin support. Really? So that's just the one thing that I want us not to lose focus on is what the nonprofits bring to the table and how they need to be supported.
The hoteliers have done the 2017 law that led arts. Everybody. Yeah, but one of those things that. That's all. At least.
Great, but it is not parallel to.
Well, I think that one of the things that's been talked about for a long time is that we're trying to get to a different point. We've been referred to as Fredericksburg, we've been referred to as, Grapevine and other locations, Rockport. And but the fact is that the allocations, and even in doing this $750,000, initially the recommendation was 4, 2, and 1, which again, that would have actually brought it back down to roughly about $675,000 versus $750,000. And again, that would have balanced out a little bit more, and we would have been able to allocate a little bit across the board, a lot more. But again, what's happened is that it's been pushed over to the CVB side a little bit more, which again, don't get me wrong, we've been there, we know it's gotten better, but the fact is that you still need those programs on the other side of this that are still being able to be pushed through the CVB, and we're able to gain a lot more attraction base and a lot more attention that way.
Yeah.
But right now what's happened is that we're pushing more towards the CVB on the community side, not the activities. And that's what's happened is that there's very segmented points where there's going to be interest based. And it's more the community side versus the actual community. Great example, I hate to use my own Winefest. It was very limited and very segmented. But again, we were one of the ones that had that removed from us. And yes, we were able to use some general funds to try to help supplement. And yeah, we did increase. But the fact is that what about some of these other organizations that don't have that? They, on the other end, are suffering because of it. So, okay.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree with you, Michael, but I mean, the way I look at it also is, about this is a bus that's standing still. You got to get the wheels moving, and until the wheels move, then those numbers will go up, and there will be more at the discretion of the council to dish out to everybody, But and we saw these numbers kind of dwindle down for the last few years. So until this bus gets moving, we can't really produce anything more. And I mean, if it was in my business and all my business dropped, what do? I have to allocate to more on the marketing, more on something so that I get 5, 10 people more through the door than what my competitors do, right? Okay, what are they not on? What am I doing that? So I've also, during this last few years, in my own businesses, I've taken the steps of hiring another third party, help me get bigger and better, you know, just not stand still on corporate America area. It's a similar story. Got to get the
business.
So I think,
yeah, but it's still finances.
to your point earlier, Rockport has a history. That half the events that happen, your occupancy relatively stay the same. What they're trying to do is use money to market Rockport. So what are we doing as a community to market so that not only does little Johnny get to do what he wants to do, go fishing and stuff in the summertime, but mom and dad get to do the art thing in the wintertime. And we're going back and Rockport's kind of on our radar all the time. And to me, I think that's what city council is trying to do with CBB, but to Jennifer's point, you need us to make those hit points relative to the marketing.
Needs to balance.
It needs to balance.
And
so.
it's not balancing, it's skewed, is my point.
And so the way the CV is supposed to work, you're correct. It's worked the last year, is it's been just kind of, we're starting something. I mean. Or somewhere. What it's supposed to do is you're supposed to be a board, they're supposed to come to you for the events that you guys were having advertising for the hot times, say it's the art festival. You're supposed to go ahead, and go, hey, how do you feel about advertising? That's how it's.
And
And that's where it's
we
gonna
want to
start.
say, here's this event, here's this hotel, here's this great restaurant, here's the other things you can do.
So that's,
You should get more for your buck.
that's the way it needs to start working, I believe. I'm just speaking on it. That's the way it needs to start working from here on out as allocated. Set in stone. And then on the second hand, the smaller nonprofits, that's where that advertising through the CBD. They rather, honestly, I've talked a lot. They rather just not even do it. We're giving them the advertising where they don't even have to go and worry about doing this or doing that. It's just advertised. So it does help each other out in the long run if it's done the correct way. We just need to start doing it the correct way and making sure that when we're advertising, we keep the money that's away from you guys, from the advertising to put into the CBD. I shouldn't even say take away.
So,
That's
yeah,
not
it's
it.
not taken
It's
away because it was never.
Allocating the advertising funds that needs to be allocated just directly to the CBD. Supposed to have you guys. You're supposed to allocate that. And that was on. So just have some faith that yes, this last year's been kind of just running around, trying to figure it all out, but. I know I trust in them that they know how it needs to work and how it's gonna work out, and we're gonna get there, so.
One of the things that I'd like to bring up is that, you know, yes, we have a few of us, a part of the CVB here. This is the first time that we've actually seen a hard number. I think the last CVB meeting, we asked for the budget and there was nothing offered, nothing given. And so this is the first time that we've actually seen a number allocated to the CVB board or allocated to the marketing, the future.
It's
And
been working on our budget right now. I gave it to him on Thursday. So, haven't been seeing it out of being held from you.
Yeah, this part is different from C.
what?
So the
What
hot
was-
allocations that the council does is a separate budget from CDE.
But she
No.
was asking for the CVB.
Right.
With the 750 number.
But we still haven't seen the budget. And I understand timing is an issue here, but we don't know what the CBB budget is that you're talking about.
You'll have it at the next board meeting.
Yeah.
Also, keep in mind, council adopted the philosophy that you are supposed to be weaning off of hot money. If
It's
you,
always been.
so you're supposed to be weaning off and you're asking for more every year. You're not going the right way. Okay, so we're gonna put that to bed. I'll look to hear back from someone on the Fine Art Fest.
I have a question. Okay.
For who?
I
No.
guess.
I'm done. What? No.
So, CBB started off with 300,000. In the chamber, right, and that's where it started off, then it was added in May, 225. 525. So those monies, and then you're adding $750 over first. So $1.275 million for the CDB, right? For the past October, since October. So are those funds 520? Those gonna be spent by October 1st? Or will there be any that will hold
There
up?
is no money left.
It's all gonna be allocated.
Absolutely.
Okay.
In fact,
Because part of that was the net salary, and she got 125, and that didn't happen, right? That was the budgeted amount. So she-
125 was her, no, hold on. Her salary was not 125.
Well, that's what was budgeted.
Hold on. Salary and benefits.
Correct, thank you.
Right, so I don't want you to think we gypped her out of.
No.
I want
That
her
was
to
just,
be-
that was a part of the original budget.
Right.
Okay, she started later, which, a couple of months ago, so where's the rest of the money is my question.
Sure. Get expense form every month? Yes. Yeah, you do on your board.
I did not have it the last time, I think you meant, same as he's asking about the budget, so.
Okay,
You
okay,
get
so
an
we'll see it
expenditure report every month.
The next CD.
that's part of full closure of what we're asking, right?
Firm out
What?
of San Antonio. Did we do initial?
Right, we had
first
to
3
finish
months?
out the contract that the chamber had entered us into.
Right, I remember that.
So that was another.
So
that was 75 grand out of the bucket.
With 8,000, what is that?
So this is all CDB stuff.
I can
Yeah,
assure
yeah.
you
We
the
can have
money's
this
accounted for.
discussion.
Yeah, we'll do it elsewhere.
They were at the top.
Well, like I said, I know that Shelley has been giving you expenditures reports.
Okay.
Okay, Robbie is up next.
We're done, girl. Sorry, Robbie, no more.
Yeah, I saved you for last, so nobody would be interested. No. I'm just kidding. So you asked Robbie to go back and put together prioritized pennies on INS. I think he has some other news to share with us, but I'll let him be the bearer of great news.
Let's see. Screw this up last.
All of our stuff still isn't working. I sent Kimberly a picture of this thermostat where it just went black. We're still working through things.
I like the door, in the middle over there. And to get out.
And he's got to scan to get in.
Push short. I want you to-
Oh,
Yeah,
there's not a fire.
yeah. Okay, so this was thought I put together again, it's all about education. Who do we serve? I mean, really, at the end of the day, who do we serve? Rockport demographics. You look at it, education levels, we are, we look really good from an education standpoint. We have some of the higher, we're one of the more educated compared to the rest of Texas. Probably due more in part when you look at the age. You look at the age, Rockport, median age is 50, over 50 years old. So compared to the rest of Texas, it's much more even keel. You look at household median incomes, national median income 78,000. You can see that only really City of Portland exceeds that in the area. I mean, we're up there, but we're not over it. If you look at it individually, we actually gain a little bit of ground, but we are still under it. Everyone is actually under the median in income. Racial diversity, Rockport's 73% white. The only other area city that has a concentration that heavy is Sinton, that's 79% Hispanic. The other cities are pretty much mixed up. if you wanted to look at those percentages at the, just the raw data, that's the raw data, just kind of seeing what the composition is. The last budget workshop, we're asked to include all street work in CIP except for construction costs of Austin streets, as Vanessa alluded to times. The budget includes proposal A of the Condor study, and it also adds about 23 days of general fund reserves. These are the dollar amounts that were included in the CIP. We had talked about these are the tweets that advertised back in May. Continuation of some of those projects that we're looking to. These were what the departments were needing. Again, police radios because they were at end of life. The vehicle replacement about $750,000. And we still have to do the reimbursement resolution again to get back fund balance from what the mayor was talking about for the monies that we spent for the Rockport Volunteer Fire Department for the mold remediation work that was done. Evidence vehicle for CID, and then the purple pipe to Memorial Park. We talked about. Oh, all in all, we were looking at, if I go backwards, I think I erase it. All in all, it's about $7 million is what we're looking at for this next year. Here is where we are right now. These numbers can and will change, but general overall, we're looking at about a just shy of $64 million budget for all funds. That is up 5% from last year's budget. That's just about $61 million. Consumer price index. Again, this is what we have to work with again because there was a cap of 3.5% on our M&O. So basically, what we read in the water. This is basically so basically with the cost of living index, try to retain the employees that we currently have, not really adding any more employees. The last CPI index that was released in June was at 2.7%. So we're making a little bit of ground, but still we lost a lot of ground back during the 2021 to 2023, when it was up at 9.1%. Any questions? Feel free to chime in. We received the certified appraisal. I received it last night. It's been kind of a scramble to get this in. Was looking at the comparing the preliminary certified appraisal rolls to the final appraisal rolls, and our certified our values, our freeze adjusted values had gone down by $45 million. Made a call over to the appraisal district, and apparently there were quite a few protests, very heavy on the hotel side, and so that accounted for a lot of it. Just got off a text with a buddy of mine, the minister up here, Jackson. They had a hit of 80 million. I'm not saying that that's any better, but sir.
Did your team have anything on the hot funds? Did he have anything?
I showed it.
But yeah, so apparently it's because of a softening real estate market and income producing properties. That's where you're. In Austin, it's been reducing. The value's been going down about every year recently. And the next slide is this is from Anna, excuse me. She's going to use a collections rate. The collections rate's up to her, or she selects it. It's going to be 104%. I think it was 106% last year. Due to excess debt collections, it's also going to reduce the amount that we turned in for debt service by about $100,000. we don't want to over collect and then over collect again, so she, how much. Gonna try to protect on the INS side. But that's really what she's. Also was nice enough to ran. Give me the debt service also ran. I know it's kind of small, but and what tax rates, no new revenue. Order approved, we're a little over 44, and de minimis 5. Again, that those are higher in part because of the reduction in value. I mean, that's M&O at voter approved was 0.3, INS is 0.21, again, for a total of a little over 44. We're currently sitting at a little over 40. That's where we are right now. So I included Anna's tax calculations just for full transparency. If somebody is short enough or strange enough that want to go through this and recalculate it, they are more than 2.
We will send it
Yes.
to you and it will be on the
Oh,
website.
okay.
It wasn't an either or statement, I'm sorry.
Yes, these numbers have changed because those numbers from Anna we received last night.
Yes, sir.
And so I updated them in this spreadsheet. Also adjusted from the 98.5, like in the middle of the page, to 96%. That was because of the 104% collection rate. So we had to adjust it there as well. So that this is updated numbers. We're looking at about a marginal increase of about 265 at this point. I think we were close to that on our last presentation as well. I don't say that was skill. I would say that was luck because there's so many moving pieces. Let's say I just got lucky on that. Okay. So overall revenue increase 57 on the M&O side, $1.3 million on INS. Again for the debt. We talked about the collection assumption. Marginally speaking, for the increase in average home value, and the increase on tax proposed preliminary tax rate, excuse me, about 1% increase. Here's the breakdown of what we'd be looking at with the new preliminary tax rate voter approved. Got a 50. This shows what amortization of the last issuance that we did, $3 million, and it's about $500,000, $3 million a year per year, each year for 7 years, $3 million. This. This is interest rate on 7-year, so we issued our debt at a little under 4%, and I don't know if we're going to get that lucky this time because they're back above. You're asking about some debt that was scheduled to come off. And we can see over at the 2012, 672 is getting ready to drop off. And then in the next 2 years, we're going to be having the GOs 15s and the GOs 14s dropping off. So we still have a long way to go on those refunded 2022s. So, and then we're doing is we're estimating the issues, the $7 million on the tax notes, and that would be the estimated debt service on those. So the $1,176,000 amount.
Is that included in your previous graph?
What was including what?
Was the projected issuance for this year included in your?
Beliefs.
Go back to that. I think that's a little bit clearer picture. Well, I mean, maybe it's all very clear, but.
I believe so.
Okay.
I think it was in there. That snowball. Avalanche. Yeah.
The next 6 years, we have a significant amount.
Yes, we have, that 672 would be dropping off. So. Are there kind of lay out a scenario? So what if we continue to issue $7 million in tax notes going forward, say for Austin Street, or say for Austin Plus Streets, or whatever, drainage, however, whatever you want to say. So now we're 20. So right now we have, I'm not gonna try to do the pointer. So right now we have $40 million. Our debt service is now 42 million. Pay it all out. Debt service goes up to 6 million. Lay it out another year, issue another 7 million. Debt service goes up a little under 44 million. Next year, 9 million. 5 million overall. What I'm doing is I'm getting rid of that, especially that GO 22, getting rid of that so that we can sure what does it look like if we continually issue $7 million each year and just keep it steady. So now we're at 44 million, just under 8 million debt service, 9 million, 5 million overall. If we're continuing, that's why those numbers look. That's an assumption. 44. 42. Under 41. Down. Now, remember, I know you're going, well, debt services, but also your valuations are going to be going well. I got our tax rate. If our tax rate was steady, our tax rate right now would be 36. And your valuation is we're going down.
Our total debt pretty steady over the coming years and continue to get money for capital projects that we've not been able to fund. But keep this to even reducing
Right.
is the point I think Robbie's going for.
Correct. So now we're at 9.2, 35 million, 233 million, 32.8 million. And so this is what we would end up looking like year after year after year. So we would have debt service of just over 8 million. Steady, and be running 32 million overall debt service, which is down from the 40 million that we're at now.
And that's an 8-year projection. That's not very long.
Well,
Well, the 2034 is what I was looking at there, sorry. 2040.
so, but that's kind of what the scenario would be, but that would give council that they like that if we give them, or whatever, if we give them money to use, or to be, if they wanted to be doing capital projects along the way, it would give them something, and something that would be very predictable to be doing stuff around the city, or whatever, you know, what y'all wanted to
keep,
and it's lower.
yeah, it lowered it, it's gonna keep you about the same debt service.
Yeah. Yes.
So what is that, what would that look like, or what would it do if you had a large project, you know, say a wastewater plant or something you know, that's north of 10 million.
I mean, I could factor that in.
No, I mean, that wouldn't be a tax note. That would probably be something that would.
Well, he's keeping it consistent with 7. If you needed
Yeah.
10,
Yeah.
you're gonna get, you know, this much
Well,
more.
would it make sense to do that on tax 7 year, like if you're building a wastewater plant, or if you're building a, I don't know,
Well,
just something.
if
Something
you're gonna get to
that-
a point, 7 million is very comfortable to say we can do that on a tax note or a revenue bond. When you're talking a wastewater treatment plant, a $20 million
Yeah.
rehab or something like that, you're gonna need to go to the vote.
Go to the voters. But
That's the,
that's kind of
that's
where
the
I'm
right
going
thing to do.
And you could probably issue tranches on that as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so it would still keep your debt service pretty steady because you're not gonna pull it out all tomorrow.
Yeah, it's gonna be a longer term.
Yeah, I mean, it's a process and, but I also think we need to be very cognizant that we need to keep up instead of try to catch up. Like right now, we're doing a lot of rehab on the wastewater treatment plant that's gonna last us for a long time. But we need to invest a little bit every year to keep it up, so it will last us for a long time. Letting us get into this situation where everything quit overnight was not acceptable because we didn't invest any money in.
I want to say thank you for showing us a long-term plan. This is the first time since I've been on council, I believe that we've actually looked at something like this that, you know, 7 million a year, that chips away at a lot of things that are on the CIP.
And it doesn't all have to be public works. You might decide one year that you want to invest in parks this year.
I'm certain.
So we're gonna take 3.5 of that and we're gonna invest in Memorial, and Ryan, you're gonna, you know, make improvements at
Take a year off, right?
You're gonna take a year off.
Take a year off.
Whatever it is, you know that you're gonna have a bucket every year. And we're gonna bring those recommendations of what to draw out of the bucket.
Chief gets an indoor range.
Robot police dog.
Because until now, we've just been going on, oh my God. You know, nothing's getting fixed, nothing changes, nothing's getting better. This at least gives us a path. We don't have to take it. But it gives us a path.
To me, it's just the first time we've seen a longer term plan in a while.
We're getting better every year.
You need an admin bump.
We have one. The councils, just rip the council sign off of it, and go to town. Chief got a new 4x4, tell him to put your name on it.
They tried.
Side by side, excuse me.
So by way of comparison, here's what we're looking at with the preliminary proposed, as compared to where we are right now versus where every other entities are right now. Really don't solve it without it being split between no and INS. I would still need to audit fund balances from that. And
Why don't you tell us a little bit about what's going on there? Because we've been working on that for a long time.
Yeah, and I saw that the not smiley face on your.
On the weekly report,
on the
right?
weekly report.
we didn't make phone calls up now, it's just zero.
Not even a goodbye letter or nothing?
Not a kiss, nothing, you know, and then 1 year.
So we switched auditors. I guess that was in the process before I got here. We switched to the auditor and this person left the firm. So we decided to stick with this person since he had our dad. Now we know that that might not have been the best decision, but we're only 2 years into him. He was almost complete.
Yeah, yes, get done all the field. And I
Robbie's
still,
gonna get a hold of
I
him.
still, I've already reached out to I think. So to try to get a replacement auditor in here, get going.
So, you know, if it's not one thing, it's another, but then we're gonna put out an RFP.
It is.
Get him.
Why I agree.
What are the, are we in violation of anything, any statute?
Not yet, but it's quickly coming. It was a very inopportune.
What do we need to do? I mean, I'm sure you're already well down that road, but to make sure that we're in
I'm trying to get an auditor in here, ASAP. I've already been on the phone I've been calling them. We've sent letters out to see if the interest, what's happened is, because of all of the compliance issues that have come up, many auditors are getting out of the business. It's not profitable for them to be in, and or they're retiring. And in part, what's also happening and what our previous auditors shared with us, that even I've heard that time and time. Local articles, they're saying, and what's happening is a lot of this stuff. So that's what he was doing. That was he was outsourcing. How many staff he was outsourcing? And do it. And he had been to professional education course. You're not outsourcing into your visit firms and everything. They already are wild. And there was actually an article last week. Local CPA firm is not the majority of has CPAs working in it. It's a minority now because people aren't going. They don't want to work the extra year, the hours fit for the CPA. So it's in a way that government mandated to have. It's not our rates. I mean, so being handled. Yeah.
Really the only reason?
No, I like it, actually.
Oh.
Just
Just checking.
As long as I get my pain pills with it too. Makes it even better than driving. No.
We're good.
Okay.
So the department scrubbed their budgets. But was it they did the executive session, I think, and Corpus was like, that's good, and I think they're going to council.
Today?
Today, and I think maybe.
It was on consent.
On consent?
Yeah.
It was on
Wow.
consent for today, but I don't know if it's been pulled off or voted on yet.
Okay.
Ironically, they meet from 11:30 to 5, and so none of us could be there.
Consent.
From what they were saying, there wasn't a real big issue. I didn't to work with Rockport. Yeah.
Well, I couldn't say something.
Yeah, it's a.
Whatever. But we talked about the marketing. We have about, it says 30 days, and we really have about 23 days. Then we talked about the CIP. It also includes a will dance study.
I'm sorry, can I back that up? It's gonna be an additional 23 days of reserves.
Yeah, adding to our 23 days, or adding to the 3 days too.
Oh, that 30 should not, that 30 should be 23. It is 23 days. So it's below-
23.
It's below 30. It's below 30 right now.
No, hold on. You're gonna add 23 days
Yes.
to our reserves.
Yes.
We're not going down to a 23-day reserve.
No.
Okay.
No.
Thank you.
We're adding to it, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And if any excess from the gas system.
We'll
that
go
we
in
get,
that.
We'll go in that too, or to shore up the reserves. The service sanitation's going up for, that's already built in there. And then insurance when it's on, of course. And then I know we also, budget calendar, I know we have, more meetings coming up here real very quickly. Any questions?
To go back to where you were talking about what our proposed tax rate,
Including.
all that stuff. Yeah, so everybody is.
Wanting to see everything without it.
Well, I just want to make sure that you guys know that everything that you've asked
It's
for is the
included in
0.44.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, we're at 4.40. that's primarily to cover the 7 million. Okay.
Now, Robbie, I thought we had talked about maybe prioritizing 1 penny, 2 penny, 3 penny.
We did, I know we did that on last one. I didn't do anything.
How many pennies did you add? Four. And that was the.
That's the entire street CIP minus Austin.
Yes.
Minus
Correct, with
Austin.
a small allocation for the preparatory work, yeah.
300,000. Yes.
Okay, and then the V and E or the.
All
other list
that.
of it, yeah, the radio list.
Yeah.
And how much is each of those again? Separately,
And for the breakdown, you're saying?
I think
separately.
you have it on the slide.
I think they're about
You did.
3.2 or 3.5.
I'm asking them to go back just to know what we're getting.
But we had discussed getting a clarification, go off of like. Talked about.
2.5 is this much, 2 pennies would get us this.
And if we had the option of taking like 3.5. Instead of a total of 4.
But that's what we did.
Yes.
5 is.
Okay.
No, what I'm saying is
I'll-
we took off Austin Street and discussed putting a certain amount of money for them to get started planning over the course of the year. With that, it reduced us by, total of whatever, so we had discussed if we were able to take not a penny on the cent, basically. If we needed a lot less, taking the less amount, but they were gonna get clarification if they could do it off cent.
Right.
Yes.
Can we do 3.5 cents? Or
They keep it to the absolute lowest amount. Instead of the total of 4.
Yes, but part of it is also gonna be what's the market gonna go to market for debt. Because market, it would be changes.
so saying yes, we could do it for 3.5, maybe. When we go to the market, it may be 3.75, it may be 4.2,
But our tax rate's already set, so all it means is we got something.
Right.
The total CIP fund.
we have to cut it out of the money.
Because when we go to market, we don't know where that's gonna be,
Locked in.
Yeah,
But our
yes.
proposed, our preliminary tax, well, then our tax rate's already set.
Right.
So
If it's low, we could come in.
Higher rate could come in lower, yes.
And that's, correct me if I'm wrong, that overpayment that Anna has on our INS was because of the fluctuation in the market and we got a little more than we needed.
No,
Okay.
we just collected more, it just collected. And it's due to how the taxes were collected. INS. Sheesh.
We allow her to do that job, to balance it.
Yes. That's all.
yeah, like have that on the list. Screw up our numbers and that way it gives us a little time to screw it plus the.
Into the heartburn, not big money items, but I just want you to know payment for an alternative insurance, $1,000 a year for everybody that seeks insurance somewhere else. Save us substantially more than that. Now we have 2 people right now that go on to the VA We have some people that are Medicare eligible, so if they choose to come off of our insurance,
Put on spouse's insurance, that.
if they have an option to go on their spouse insurance, anything that takes you, you have to be insured.
Yeah.
That's not an option. But if you have anything to take you off of the city's insurance, we will give you a $4,000 check. That will save us a significant amount of monies, not only in premiums, but in risk management. So.
Healthcare, correct? That's just, that's.
Healthcare only, that's all. So, we'll do that. And I'm also gonna put in a couple of $1,000 for pay for innovation. So that if you come up with a money saving, a long-term year-over-year money saving idea for the city, then we give you a certain amount of money. It's not been set. I have a committee of frontline workers that are gonna be writing the criteria for that and setting the, setting the criteria. I might put about 5,000 in for that. I wanna, if you're doing the job, you probably have a good idea of how it can be done better. And I want to incentivize you to speak up. So anyway, that's what that's for. And then the other thing I am going to start to do, and you may even see it at the next council meeting, is outsourcing the permitting process. So we will do intake, processing, and building permits outsourced. The fee that they've given us, I think we can pass on to the customer. Robbie and I are working through that. He's very busy right now, so he probably doesn't want my last minute add-on. But I think we'll be able to just do that as a pass-through fee. We also have a position over there that's not been hired that we will not fill. And then we'll see how that goes.
Is that something our peer cities are doing?
That, I know that I have done it in previous cities. I feel like that's what we need to do here to offer the best customer service.
Okay.
So yes, other cities do it 100%. That's what companies like SafeBuild, ICC, Bureau Veritas, that's what they do. So we're
What do
gonna
they do for the customer when they come here, they come to the building and there's not a face to?
So they're gonna go there. Number one, SafeBuild is gonna set up where you can submit your permit through a portal. So if you're computer savvy, you don't have to go see a face. If you go there, Chris will still be there, and she's gonna walk you to a kiosk and show you how to submit your own permit, check your status, and everything in the system. So a lot of our builders expect that because they have a portal in other cities.
Mhm.
We do not have the capacity in-house. Get that portal set up, get that portal working, explain it to the customer. So we're gonna let these guys build it. And then
We'll see how it goes.
we're gonna decide what we'll do after we get a couple of years of changes. We're doing building blocks. We're forming the departments to what they need to be as they go. That's gonna be our focus right now, is the planning and development side. And this is step one.
Quick question on the insurance. Does that do anything for Casey? Does that farm her anyway with the new health insurance we went after? That affect us poorly in any way with them?
It should not.
Okay.
Premium for that person. Paying the premium is the minimum.
I just wanted to affect the overall
Nah.
group with that.
If 50% of our employees left,
Then-
it would affect it. If 50% of our employees leave, we'll take it. We'll take it. So, yeah. I mean, if it's, like I said, we end up with 5. We're 5 down the road and less money, significantly less money out of pocket. So those will be in the budget. Sorry, Robbie.
Oh, you're fine.
He loves my changing
It's already
numbers.
built in for the
I know.
incentives.
But I don't want anybody to see it and go, what the hell is this? You're writing employees $1,000 checks. Yeah, we are, because they're gonna save us $10,000 over the year. We are. It's an incentive. We wanna be as efficient and as lean as we can. I think people should be rewarded for bringing those things in. Cops cannot work from home. That's not innovative.
Correct.
So,
We will try. Let's see what we can do.
Anything else?
no, sir.
have a question. Over by the city of Hoffman, that built into.
Separate, not in anything he's talking about here.
Well,
Didn't keep.
but yeah, it's not that,
Well, that was just.
like,
We gotta get a better system.
that's where,
We just put in the revenue projection.
yes, we spend the revenue.
So
That was
he's
that
gonna have to
original.
bump that up to 1.3.
And the breakdown of that. So I was just looking at, maintaining tourism related facilities, infrastructure, eligible. Breakdown of that is not.
This, no, this is all funds. Very high level. It's the preliminary. We're not even at the, I mean, we don't, yeah, the proposed is usually where the detail comes with it, but we're still talking about this.
Okay, Jack?